Seibert Media is offering a program for young founders who want to grow to tap into the wealth of our network.
People through the form of video come to form a trust, and that trust is very valuable. You might not see it when you're giving away stuff for free, but at one point, it'll make a lot of sense.
Be generous with your knowledge. You've got plenty of it.
Today's sponsor is Resolutions Out of Office Assistant for JSM, the best app for delegating JSM approvals when you go on your next vacation. It even works with already existing issues in the approval process. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Summer of Atlassian. Today I have a very special guest. I have Martin from Seibert Media Group, and I am just honored that you took an hour out of your time, Martin. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on, and I really look forward to our conversation.
Sure. I'm looking forward to it as well.
So Martin, I wanted to start off with where I first met you, and that is
Where
actually
was that?
through. So that was through Chris Cook. So Chris Cook back
Mhm.
in January reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey Alex, I just changed teams, and I joined a new group, an awesome new group, and we're gonna be having an info session at Team 24." And here's an invite so you can come in and be a participant, right, and attend. And I was like, info session, what is that? and so this is a pretty cool, I came to learn that this was a pretty cool event that you do.
Does it translate at all? Like info session? Does that do anything to your mind if you're an American? And
It does. It does, right? So when I first saw it, I was like, I call it the pregame, right? I see it as the conference before the conference. That's how I've been explaining it to people, because a lot of people went to Teams as just a regular individual, right? Not so I went to Teams this year as a content creator. So I had a very, very packed schedule. And so as I've been describing to people, I'm like, hey, Monday was like packed for me, right? Because the conference doesn't start until end of Tuesday. And they're like, well, what were you doing on Monday? I was like, well, I was at the pre-conference. I was like at the conference before the conference. But yeah, I like the word info session. I think being my first info session that I attended, it was very informative. So a lot of information coming out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of like it's an information session, and we just I don't know. You wouldn't say that in German either, but at least in German, it would be easy to understand. So this is not a pitch show. It is not an expo hall. It's more of like you get a lot of knowledge out of that. And we came to that because, first of all, we understood, okay, there are more and more vendors out there, and they want to present their thoughts and why they think their solutions matter and how they can help customers. And there was less and less opportunity during the regular conference to do so. And people were showing off more and more. It was more of like imagery marketing stunts and less of here's what I have and these are the downsides and those are the upsides, and let's have a conversation whether this is something for you or not. And I said, oh, and I did see, I think Guillermo Montoya from Dicer, the
Dicer,
CEO.
yeah.
So he flew to an Atlassian summit, as it was called back then, and his plane was canceled. So he was late. He would come in 3 hours late on the first day because he had to take the plane on the next day or whatever.
Right.
I don't remember for sure. And then I said, oh, that's a mistake. You have to come in early so that you can come over jet lag and be like in the American time zone biologically. And you must come early to, if ever a flight is canceled or something, you can just match that. And then if you come early, you have a lot of headroom to do things. So why don't we set something up? The first info sessions were on Sundays. It's kind of like, we were sucking out a leisure day and turned it into a business day. And that's why info session was really a good name, in my opinion, because it was this weird thing that you do. Although last year, the Xalt team, they made a video with one part of the team going in a helicopter through into Grand Canyon and having a good time, and the other team standing in a line at the info session to get into to be fed up with information. And but that's the approach. Like meet people and really get a more intimate situation than in the big Atlassian conference.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's about a pre-event that we hold in front of Atlassian summits, or as they are called today, Atlassian team conferences, every year for almost 10 years already.
That's what I was going
So
to ask you. I went through your YouTube channel, and you were a very young lad interviewing folks, and I'm like, you've been doing this for a while, haven't you?
yeah, I a lot of the success that we have as a vendor, and Seibert Media is one of the biggest Atlassian partners worldwide, and the biggest partner in the German DACH region, so in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And we've also a couple of apps that people that watch your channel may know. The most prominent and most successful app is Draw.io. It's the app with the most installation on the Atlassian marketplace. If you ask me, it's the most successful app and the best app, but that can be discussed. So a lot of the success that we've seen with products and with our services come from videos that's too short. I would say the transparency of sharing whatever you know with the world. So we operate under a mantra that a Harvard professor, David Maister, I don't know whether it's Harvard, but it was a pretty cool guy, and he wrote a book, Managing the Professional Service Firm, and it was a transformative book for me for our solutions business. And one of the sentences in there is, be generous with your knowledge, you've got plenty of it. And the idea behind that is, Alex Ortiz, please share everything you know, because you know so much that people will be addicted to coming back to your YouTube video and learn more. And then whenever they have a real problem that cannot be solved with a random video, because this video can give you inspiration, but I have a real challenge right now, it must be solved. So they will say, oh, I'm going to go to Alex because he has taught me so much already. He will know what to do. And for Germany and German, for a lot of people, this is my company. So
Yeah.
they turn to us because they trust us. They say, oh, those people, they don't sell shit to me. They tell me, don't do that if I shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we can convey through videos by just saying when we suck. We just say
Right.
we
No,
suck, and then
and it
people know,
makes a lot of
oh,
sense.
but you still seem to be in business, so there must be things where you don't suck. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of things where we don't suck. Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense, because that you truly are describing my business model for this YouTube channel, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a huge
Fully
proponent of just
understood.
give, and the world will naturally reciprocate with when it's appropriate. It
If you
won't
don't
be
see it yet, it will come. Just wait a little more.
just wait. No, I mean, I'm already starting to see a lot of it, right? So I do get that I do have offerings, and I do have like paths for folks that do want additional help. I make it a little hard to find. I'm not ready to scale. So for the people that can find me, I do generally help them with their Jira problems, but I do make it a little trivial, right? I make it a little hard, and mainly because I don't know if you know, but I do with Atlassian. I partnered up with Atlassian in January to offer this live learning series, where
Mhm.
myself and a couple of other content creators within the Atlassian ecosystem, we provide free, completely free, live training on YouTube to the community, to the world. And when they were talking numbers, they were like in the tens of thousands of people that were going to be doing this. And I'm like, I can't be giving away 15 minutes for free to 10,000 people. So I had to like hide everything so that otherwise I'm like, I'm going to drown with everybody just asking for work. But it's something that we're actively working here. My wife and I were partners on this whole journey. But yeah, I completely empathize with what you're saying, right? Like, it makes total sense. Like, I think people through the form of video come to form a trust, and that trust is very valuable. You might not see it when you're giving away stuff for free, but at one point it'll make a lot of sense.
I've
Now,
only had good experiences with that, and even in Germany, there have been at least 5 people that have been without any me asking. So they came out of the blue. Back in the days, it was on Crossing or Xing, as we call it in Germany. It's something like LinkedIn, but German style, smaller. And he reached out and said, "Oh, Martin Seibert, I wanted to contact you." So yeah, so what's up? I just wanted to say thank you. So for what? I've been watching all your videos, and I've been using that to consult with clients to help them, and you helped me help them. And I just realized I'm running this business and I have like employees now. So I am a competitor of yours. You have made me a successful competitor of yours. And then I just wanted to say thank you. I said, yeah, cool. Thanks. Thanks for sharing and
thanks.
congrats. And the world is full of opportunity for service people. Like this, what we're doing in our solutions business doesn't scale. So there's
Yeah.
plenty of room for hundreds of more of those people. I'm hoping that what I'm doing is helping people, and I'm hoping that what you're doing is also inspiring other people to do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reminds me of a line from Alexander Hamilton, the musical. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it. It's very American, very patriotic. But there's a line where I don't know how much you know about U.S. history, but we had these founding fathers, specifically Alexander Hamilton and another gentleman named Aaron Burr, and Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton. I don't, have you ever heard of the
No,
Hamilton story?
no, I don't know. Tell me.
So it's a very big it's a very big part of U.S. history, right? So one of the founding fathers, he was very, I should rephrase the way this is paired out. So let me rephrase. Alexander Hamilton's a founding father. There's a guy, Lin Manuel Miranda. He's a producer, and he made a musical out of the history of one of the founding fathers, but he turned it into a rap musical. So it's very hip hop, very upbeat, very. It's highly recommend you check it out if you like musicals. It's a very interesting thing, but he basically turns this very old, ancient, archaic history, very boring historical story of how the United States came to be, into this very modern, hip, culturally inclusive, like amazing musical. It's awesome. And the whole premise behind Alexander Hamilton and this competitor Aaron Burr is that they fight. They're fighting for this political power, right? And Aaron Burr and Hamilton get into it, and they do a duel. They get into a gun battle, and Aaron Burr in our history books kills Alexander Hamilton, right? But in that play, there's a line where Aaron Burr has immediate regret after killing Alexander Hamilton. And the line, the very famous line that he has in his play is like, I should have known that the world was big enough for the two of us. Like, it didn't have to come down to one or the other
Mm,
existing. Like, the world is so big that our egos got in the way, and
yeah.
unfortunately I had to kill you.
No,
But
no, I got your
had I,
point. Yeah.
had I been more mature, I would have realized, like, wait, we can exist, both of us. There's the world's so big, right? And it's just a line from
We
that
we
musical
can
that I
we
resonate with.
can connect to what the Atlassian ecosystem is about from that metaphor or history or story. So
Right.
it's something that, in my opinion, and you had this in your topics that you wanted to cover. So I'm just gonna pick that up.
Okay, let's just jump right into it.
Um, I think it's something that we have unlearned in the Atlassian ecosystem through capitalization, through commercialization, through the entry of venture capital-backed companies. So a lot of, or yeah, you could say a lot of companies have sold already. So the owners are no longer the shareholders of the company, but some capital-backed company is now a private equity company or some sort of financial um, corporation owns those companies now. And that tends to lead to situations where people forget about this world that is so big that it can hold multiple people. It's the game is often played like a zero-sum game. So if I want to have something, I need to get it from you first so that you don't have it. So, for example, you have this big customer. I'm now trying to get your customer, so you have this no longer this customer, and I have it. And the reality is so much different. But the truth is that you inject a poison into the business relationship between those two people trying to get the attention of this customer. It's like if you're looking at really big companies, it's interesting for everyone to work for them, and it's possible that multiple people work for them, but there's always a prime seat, a seat that is most attractive, and everyone want to sit in that seat. And the question is now, how do I try to get there? Which means, am I willing to employ to get there? And how well can I receive that I don't win this seat, but I'm in the second or third seat? And there's more and more people who are not willing to be in the second or third seat and who are willing to employ means that are not sustainable. And it's something that I find frustrating. And
Yeah,
it's some people have called it a blue ocean and a red ocean. That must be something that
I'm very
a
I'm very
picture from
familiar.
America.
Yeah, I'm very familiar.
So like,
We have a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, which I'm very, very familiar with.
yeah. So the red ocean is obviously full of bleeding fish that have turned the blue ocean into the red ocean. It's a
Yeah,
very
a very crowded area.
aggressive and mean picture by itself. But yeah, that's something that I regret, and that sucks joy out of working in this ecosystem. But I also tend to believe it's probably natural. The more money involved, the more of those sharks you get
Right.
that are willing to employ means that
M-
may not be as
And
sustainable.
and maybe American pop culture has a significant impact on my life because that just reminds me of like the Facebook story, right? Where when the
Mhm.
Social Network movie came out, the tagline on the movie was like, "You can't get to 1 billion friends without making a few enemies." And I kind of feel like that's pretty related here, right? Because Seibert is a pretty big company, right? The only interesting thing that I see though is that I don't I'm very well connected in the industry here with the common folk, right? Where the people where the people play, right? And there's certain big companies, I would say your competitors, where we internally, when we're talking about them, they kind of feel like the old IBM of the 1960s and 70s, right? Where they're this big behemoth, but they're the bad guys, right? Like they consume you, they'll acquire you almost to kill you, right? Because the competition, right? Competition is not good, right? Like, or maybe they just want intellectual properties
I feel
rights and stuff
flattered
like
when you say that,
that.
because
Sorry?
I feel flattered when you say that, because it sounds as if we are not part of this camp.
I don't. That's what I was gonna. That's what I was trying to get to, right? Like, but when I see or hear of Seibert, right, that association isn't there, and I really do think that it takes a tremendous leader, someone like yourself, right, to really have honest and good intentions, as opposed to just like market capitalization, right? Because you can clearly see where the intent is at with one competitor over another, and so kudos for that.
Yeah, thanks. As I said, I'm flattered that you say that. I would prefer not to comment on that, but um, Seibert Media is offering a program for young founders who want to grow to tap into the wealth of our network. And this culture is just, you could say, the invitation to doing that. It's probably some sort of a marriage or something. So we do want to partner up for the long term for people. We don't try to sell it, whatever you do, and we don't try to buy it, whatever you do. We don't try to pimp it so that we can both sell it. That's all no terms and thoughts and business strategies that we have here. It's not like I wouldn't rule it out that things can be sold, but basically we believe that helping the customer is something that is transformative for the customers themselves, obviously for us as humans, for fulfillment, and also for us as people who want to earn money. And that's something that works best if employed for the long run. So if you're doing something, or let me give you a different example that is also about this competition. I've been doing this for 28 years now. I was 17 when I founded the company, and my father and my mother had to go to court to make sure that I wouldn't turn 18 and had debt. That's not allowed in Germany. So my parents would have to say, "Oh, we're going to cover all of this, what this small guy is creating." And so I started my business, doing that for 28 years now, and I'm planning to do this for another 25. And in those 25 years, the most of those people that have just acquired a company, they will be sipping cocktails in the sun somewhere. And I'm wishing them all the best for that. And they are probably on a good trajectory to doing that. But I will still be working for customers in this ecosystem. That's my plan. And I'm just going to outlive this small trend. And it's like, in the end, the customer is also always asking, what's in it for me? Why should I be doing that? Why should I pay you, Alex Ortiz? What can you do in Jira for me? And if you don't have a good answer, you won't get an engagement. And they won't buy my products if I don't have something to offer that is interesting. And that's a question that is asked every other day by hundreds of people. And we've 70,000 people on trial that could possibly use Confluence whiteboards for free now, but they don't. And it's not because they are doomed to use our product. It's an open source product. You can get every diagram out of Dryo every time. It was always the case. It was always an open source software. It was only commercial in the Atlassian ecosystem. And this transparency, this dedication to what customers want will outlive those fast-paced venture capital and private equity funds that run for 4 or 7 years. In 4 years, they have to tell a new story so that a new venture fund package will buy that old package.
Yeah, because they got to grow.
I'm always telling the same story. We're going to help you. We're going to sustainably help you with your productivity in your company, with the organization, with all these things. And it's inherently cool, unless, and that has been becoming more cooler with wars raging. But like we had years where we said, oh, we don't want to do this service for weapons companies. We don't want to work for people who buy machines that kill people. That's not, we still don't force anyone in our consultant department, for example, to do that. But it's why I'm bringing this up is people here are convinced that they are making a dent in the world of our customers. So much so that they don't want to do it in a weapons manufacturing industry. And that's what I love about this company. There are people who want to make a difference. And I admit, if you're doing a service like you do and like I do often, it doesn't scale. It makes us rich, but it doesn't make us Mark Zuckerberg. It's
Right.
like people of your intellect, you could say they are meant to achieve more than just being a doctor. Every doctor, if you read
The
Nassim
real
Taleb,
doctors, not the fake doctor like me.
no, the medicine doctors, when they all get rich, but it's the amplitude is small. Like the richest doctor on earth isn't much richer than the poorest doctor on earth. But the richest product seller, software product seller, is much, much richer than the poorest product seller, because software products is a winner-take-all game. Like if you have the best product, you're the winner, and everyone else is like tiny in comparison. And So you do, if you're talking about service, and in my opinion, a product is also some sort of service, just with a bigger payout. You have to serve customers. You have to want to serve customers. And there are companies out there who have lost that energy. They are out there to earn money. And customers understand that. They're pretty smart.
Yeah, there's this concept of and I can never pronounce this word, authenticity,
Yeah.
right? And
How good that you have this problem as a native speaker.
I
Thanks.
know it's a hard word. You should see my spelling. But it's a very interesting concept, right? Because I'm not the only YouTuber in the space, right? There's a lot of other YouTubers in this space, and it's interesting because we almost live in two different worlds, right? Because you're dealing with Atlassian apps in the marketplace, and I'm kind of just a YouTuber, right? But within the context of Atlassian, there's other YouTubers that are again making Atlassian content, but you can feel that they are unauthentic, right? You can feel the end game or their vision of where it leads to, and it's not something that a lot of people want to associate with, which is why I think I'm extremely blessed that a lot of the sponsors that come my way, they come because they see the values and the morals of the videos that I have, as opposed to other folks, again, my competitors, that make it abundantly clear, like, we're in this to just make or take your sponsorship money, and that's it, right? But I've gotten that feedback a lot from a lot of the sponsors that I've had, where it's like, Alex, we like your videos because they're so true, authentic, organic. They just resonate with that customer, and that's the audience that we want to engage with, not necessarily like a paid engagement or something like that, right? Like
Mhm.
less influencer and more just content creator, right? And so I can really empathize with what you're saying there, because yeah, it takes a tremendous amount of authenticity to create a brand, especially a brand as big as yours, right? Because Seibert Media Group is not a tiny little player in the Atlassian ecosystem. It's a pretty big um entrant. Like it's a huge. I wouldn't say like it's a monopoly, right? But you guys are a very, very big company, right? It's not like a tiny little
No,
two
we're not the monopoly.
right.
We're a tiny bit of the whole thing. I'm
But you're
trying
also
to
not
contribute something that.
but you're also not a small little player, right? You are one of the biggest players in the marketplace, right? So I don't know if this is good or bad. I feel like internally this is really good, right? But just talking about the concept of dry IO, I never knew until April 26th or whatever the date was, April 27th, that I was in that info session, that Seibert owned Draw.io. Like, it's just a tool that I've came to love and use and relied on and heavily used, but not ones that I go and look, who created this? And maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe that's a good thing that I'm like, I
And
just
then you know what? It's not true this way. So we partnered up with people who created it because they deliberately decided that they thought we were a good partner to make this big. And that's also something that we do offer to others. Let's try to make something big together.
Mhm,
I think it's a kind of a one in a lifetime story that we have with Draw.io. It was a or it was a smaller app, and there was Glyphy, and they were totally reigning the diagramming space. And then it was we actually took over and became the leading app in that space. I'm very proud on the people who make this and onboarded us to that. And um, there's actually 10 other companies and people who are trying to do that with us together. So it's basically we're doing marketing and sales, and they're doing product and support. And together we think we can form a team that can make a difference.
yeah,
And
but
yeah, you're right. We're one of the bigger players. There's more than 450 other employees that help me and others to make this come true, in all sorts of aspects. So down to legal counsels that will deal with the minutiae of law in different countries, but also people who create video content, who specialize in optimizing marketplace entries, consultants that go out and help customers and at the right point say, oh, did you know about this checklist app? Did you know about this intranet app that we have built here? Or this diagramming app that you could insert here? And so it's a portfolio of a lot of different things that put together make a difference for a lot of people who
But you're
create
saying
this
something
software.
you keep saying a word that I want to highlight and touch on, right? And I think it's a magical word, because you're saying partnership, right? You're not really acquiring, but rather you're
No,
extending like a field of influence, if you will, right? Where you help elevate the app.
I would love to say we never paid anyone, but actually we pay our employees, and we have also, in terms of transactions, paid smaller amount of sums for some thought where we thought, okay, we're actually getting this for free, and this is not free. This is worth something, so we have to attach a euro
moniker.
number to that and basically acquire that. But all of the partnerships. So last year, we've merged 5 different Atlassian solution partners into one solution partner that's now called Seibert Solutions. And all of those transactions have been created because of free will. Those people and we wanted to work together. It was not for the money. It was for the joint success, for the cultural affinity that we felt. And that's also something that I love about this, because I love the people that we can work with now. And what I hear a lot is that in those acquiring stories, there is a lucky founder who now has a big bank account, but their goal is to get out. So everyone who stays thinks, oh, that's different now. That's not what I bought in the beginning. That's not the job I did the last 3 years. I don't like that. And my hope is we have an anonymous company happiness survey. So we're asking employees, how do you feel about your team? How do you feel about your company? And they can answer. And we have gone to great lengths to make sure that people can vote twice, but that it is totally anonymous. And at least as a CEO, I can say no one ever spent any time in trying to identify who voted what. And it's an anonymous voting system. We did, by the way, we did allow comments one time. That was a bad idea, because you get a mean comment, but you don't know who it is. And that was like, so there are no comments allowed anymore. You can only vote from 1 to 5 how good you feel your team and your company is. And that took a dip. The first significant dip we saw was when we gave our employees a written note that said, tomorrow you're going to work for Seibert Solutions. And my assumption is that a lot of people felt like, oh, they're going to give away my destiny, my fate, into a transfer company. So I don't know whether this translates, but in Germany, sometimes you have like a bad bank or some sort of, you don't want to have this part of the business, and then you put it into a separate company, and then you say, oh, I don't care about this anymore. So you just ditch it. And I thought, oh, they're going to separate me first, and then I'm going to be dumped. And then the company happiness index for the company went down. So, oh, shit, we screwed this up, like false communications, whatever. And then it crept up back again, and we're better than before that. But it was so my assumption is it was change, like a significant change that we induced into the company, like telling people, look, we are working for a different company now. But then they found out, oh, they're still doing the same business. I still feel like the same thing. Oh yeah, there were 4 other companies joining us, but it's still the same Seibert group that I've been working for years. And also the other people, they can also vote now. They obviously, if they felt that Actonic was super, but Seibert Solutions sucks, they could easily anonymously tell. And that's something that's very important for me because I think it's super important for our customers. You need to have people who care, who have energy to make a difference,
Yeah.
and we're working on that.
And I wanna dig a little deeper into something you said. I think totally related. At the info session, I remember seeing you get on stage, and one of the first things that came out of your mouth was, "Don't sell. Don't ever sell. If you have this dream, if you have this vision, if you're building this company, this app, don't sell. Don't settle for that cash," right? And I think it has a lot to do with maybe the mental maturity of a co-founder, right? Or of a founder of a company. Because I've seen this in 2 cases now where a friend of mine has sold, right? They have sold to a bigger company within the Atlassian ecosystem, and I see nothing but regret, right? I see nothing of like it made sense at the time, and I saw a lot of dollar signs. There was a lot of zeros in that check, but that fulfillment that I guess they were looking for may have diminished. And then when I see Seibert, right, when I see your guys' business model, it's an encouraging model of like maybe you've reached the peak where you don't know how to grow and scale your company anymore, but come with Siebert, we'll help you get to the last mile or the next mile, or we'll help you figure it out, right? As opposed to like we'll acquire
Yeah,
you
that's kind of
and
like
that's it. That's the end of the
what we're
road,
trying
but it's not.
to convey. If you think there's a glass ceiling that you cannot easily surmount without help, then that's the time when you want to talk to us. Um, what I think, like when you're a founder right now, and there's someone giving you or offering you a big paycheck to check out, then there's two legitimate reasons to check out, to exit. And first is you're old, whatever that means. It could be 33 or something, but you're like, you have done your life's work and you want to focus on something else. Philanthropy, like Scott Farquhar.
I
Um,
want to start a
or
farm and go raise alpacas.
yeah, yeah, whatever. So you want to check out because you don't want to do that anymore. For most people like me, that's probably an age where we feel that health is dragging and we shouldn't be doing that anymore, whatever. But for some, it may be earlier. Okay, but if you do that, then you just check out. So you leave and you use your money and spend it or use it wisely, whatever.
Thailand.
And then the second bracket is it sucks. You hate it. You've built it, it works, it earns you money, but you hate it. Somehow it's not what you want to do. You want to be saving the ocean of litter or whatever. So it's something else that you burn for, but you're now imprisoned in this Atlassian ecosystem working for Mike and Scott, and you can't leave because you earn so much money. But please sell. In that situation, you have to sell because the world needs you to live out your energy and your creativity in a space where you can shine and where you can sustainably offer what you have. And that doesn't seem to be it. But for most people like you that I saw selling, they were selling for money. Oh, that's a lot of money. Never saw that much money. I didn't even dreamed ever
Yeah.
that I could be the one owning that much money. And what could I do with this money? But it doesn't mean anything. Like it's like now they have this money. There's an awesome piece that Boris Behrenberg published where he has a picture with it. And it's more, it doesn't tell about himself, but it's maybe a projection that I have. Like he said, those people, they are sitting on their fortune like dragons, and they are trying to protect it so that no one steals the gold coins out of their fortune. And he said that when he was still in charge of the business, he was way more aggressive. He was more proactive. He was taking risks and doing this and doing that, and then being very happy that this one worked and this doesn't, and he tried something else. And he wasn't that dragon protecting his stuff. And so if you just sell for the money, I think it's flawed. It's completely flawed. First of all, every smart person, and ultimately those venture capitalists or those private equity companies, they are smart. They have smart people. They will only give you as much money as your business is worth. You can haggle. It's like you can try to sell that or different story or whatever, but you'll only get as much money as it's worth. Someone's willing to pay for it. And then if that is the worth of your company and you will still have energy for, let's say, 5 or 10 years of doing that, who else on this earth can progress your company better than you? That's not logical for me. So it's the answer is always you, because you've brought it until here. You're probably the best person to drag it further. Um, and that's also a question that you can ask yourself. Like, maybe you say, no, it's not me. It must be someone else. And it's probably also a reason to sell. But for most people, they know it's me. I could be doing that the best. And then if you do that, if you keep on doing that in the next 5 to 10 years, the profits that you'll make will be so high that they will already outperform the money that you get today from this PE firm. And then you still can sell. So even if that is not the case and you don't have these high profits, if you go on and accumulate some profits here, this will increase dramatically the value of your company, and you can still sell. So you get both. And so I'm especially regretful for those who exit and are young. Like, I don't think people below
Yeah,
60 should exit.
it's for me. I think maybe we have I forget the saying, right, but maybe I align my goals and values more closely to you, right? Because again, I'm not building an app yet. I would love to. I don't know how to get started, but we'll get to that conversation one day, right? But um, just taking this back to my YouTube channel, right?
We're searching for people who lead the way. So it's you always need two things. Like you need well, actually you need three things, I would say: a hipster, a hustler, and a hacker. And I know it's very colloquial and probably not, but those are terms that have been used internally here. And so the hustler is turning shit into gold. Like he's selling this, he's doing
Right.
the marketing and all those things. The hipster does a beautiful interface that will delight people by using the software, and the hacker is actually making the software that
Put
you
it
sell.
together.
And I can see you in one of those roles. So it's always a challenge to get those three roles filled. You can do it with one single person, but that's very rare that someone can code perfectly and sell perfectly and design perfectly. That's
Yeah,
not
and
unseen of, but rare.
yeah, my wife and I. So
Normally it takes.
we're the partners here, and the way my wife and I described our relationship is that I'm more of like the Steve Jobs and she's the Steve Wozniak, because she'll code it up. She's the person that brings my visions to reality, and nobody knows her, nobody sees her, but she's behind the scenes. Like, she's the one that edits all the videos. She's putting she Without her I wouldn't be anything. And I always tell people, I'm like, I'm just a pretty face in front of the camera.
I was telling my grandma when she still lived, I'm telling people that we're good. And my brother, Joachim or Joe, he is good. But the company was smaller back then, but I would say it's still true. Like, I'm like you, I'm only producing hot air. So
Yeah. So
useless without delivery.
yeah, but going back to why I was going down this rabbit hole, right? I find it hard, and again, maybe it's again these morals or values or beliefs that you have, right? But I find it hard because in this YouTube channel, right, this thing that I'm building every day, all of day, right? My thoughts, my only priority is, how do I grow it? How do I scale it? How do I make it better? How do I improve it? What do people want? Like, and I'm just like consistently analyzing every conversation I'm having, whether it's with family or internally or externally. Like, at the end of the day, my mind is simply like, how do I grow this baby? How do I nurture it that I've been building, right? And I think to be a founder of a company and to sell it, like, that fire needs to go away. Like, how does it go away? Because I can't imagine, like when you build something and you truly love it and you truly believe in it, like it's so. I would say it would be a hard pill for me to swallow to say, hey, I'm going to sell this business, right?
You know what,
Obviously,
the hardest pill that I had to swallow emotionally this year is I saw at least 5 people who have been exiting founders, selling their company, and they were at Atlassian team again. And for 2 of them, I was giving them access to parties, to connections, to other things because they say, "Oh, I don't know anyone anymore. I haven't been here for 5 years, so I'm trying to get an entry again." And those were the people that I was looking up back then. If they would have sold, they would still lead the way. They would tell me what to do. But now they're like returning with nothing. It's like, it's very
yeah.
unfortunate. I asked them, why did you sell? And say, yeah, don't ask this question. Mm, okay, I
money
don't. But
money is a
uh,
powerful thing. I mean, I get the appeal, right? I get the allure. It'd be silly, it'd be ignorant for me to stay here and say, hey, for the right money, I wouldn't do something, right? But you really do got to balance out like your energy, your mental space of like how badly do you believe in your ideas. I was just watching a TikTok this week about Google when they were asking for $1 million, and Yahoo's like, nope, we're not doing it for $1 million. And like, imagine the world where we would be at today had Google actually sold to Yahoo for $1 million, and Yahoo probably would have just dismantled it or taken it apart or just shoved it somewhere. But they didn't, right? They didn't sell by pure luck, by pure serendipity, because somebody said no, and the world is different because of that. But I don't know. Maybe it's foolish for me to think. Maybe it's still the child
I
in
don't
me.
know whether we will put that band in the universe, but at least it's almost everybody who you meet on these conferences or who is active on your show or earns money in the Atlassian ecosystem is well off. They are all good people, earning good money, leading good lives. That's true for almost all of those people. And I know it's a generalization. There were maybe exceptions and so on, but just as a rule of thumb. And so those people, they don't have to fear anything. There is no need to change a life that is already a superior life. And it's also a big bet. Like if you are already leading a life, let's assume like you're looking at your life and I'm looking at my life, and we say, oh, there's a 0 and there's 100, and the best life that I could ever live is 100, and the worst life I could ever live is a 0. And if I am at a 92.3 now, what bet should I be doing like to get to 95? Probably some bets, but not too big bets, because I'm already almost on the top of it. It's very hard to get higher. So if I'm making a big bet, I could get maybe from a 92 to a 97, but I could also fall from my 92 to a 71. And that would be disastrous. So why would I make this bet? Like, I'd rather stay at 90 and keep it there than trying to get more and more and more. And there's two cool terms about that: maximizers and satisfiers. A maximizer tries always to get the best deal, the best solution, the best decision. So you need to get all the information, all the alternatives, measure it up, and do the best thing possible. That's like, it's a tendency. A lot of us want to do that, and a lot of us do that in certain domains, which is okay. But in the broad amount of things, you have to be a satisfier. A satisfier has standards, high standards, moral standards. And then he says, okay, any option comes around the corner. I said, oh, I'm going to look at this option. And if this option will match my criteria that I've said, I'm going to go with it. Maybe directly behind this option is another option that is twice as good. But the first option, it met my criteria. So it was good enough for me to go with. Good enough is the term. And that's what we should embrace, in my opinion. We should be more satisfied. We should be doing things that match our standards. We can still raise our standards and say, "Oh, I settled for two less. I should up my standards." But if you're always trying to get the best deal, it's a high risk. You're going to be busy comparing things all the time.
They say comparison's a thief of joy, and I just sold my house in January. I just moved at the beginning of the year, and
don't think about it anymore.
So, well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because my next door neighbor, he just sold his house, and my wife and I, we did exactly what you just described, right? We're like, hey, here's the number that we need to be financially free. I bought $1 million, so I sold $1 million house and I bought a new $1 million house. I completely paid off my house, so I'm debt free right now. And we did it with the intention of like, thanks. We did it with the intention of like, hey, let's get this mortgage burden out of the way so we can focus on building this business, right? Focus on building this brand, and we don't have to worry about feeding our family. Like, we're good. And so I took a step back that nobody was like, why would you sell? I have property in Southern California. It makes zero sense to sell because it's one of the most prestigious or most sought after places to live in the world, really, right? And so it didn't make sense. But I'm like, guys, I don't want to have. I would have had a $7,000 to $8,000 worry on me to maintain the two loans had something not worked out, right? So I'm like, I wanted to get rid of it, and I saw a vision to be completely debt free. But the number I sold that house for was the number that I knew was going to get me debt free, and that's the number I capped it at. And my neighbor, he sold his house for an extra $150,000. And I told my wife yesterday, I'm like, did we make a mistake? And she's like, no, we knew the number. We knew what we wanted. We knew how much we needed. We got the number. And that's it. That's all we have to worry about. Because even if we could have gotten more, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because we had that vision and that number.
So you're a good example for the satisfizer, because the maximizer would always regret not making the very best solution. Because now, in retrospect, hindsight, they find out, oh, there would have been a better solution. I would have just have to wait 2 months, and then I would have find someone who paid 150K more. Yes, that is unfortunate, but it's the way how you do things. And let's say it wouldn't take 1.5 months, but it would take 1.5 years. How much time is that you can ingest into your company? Or it's 5 years or 15 years. And now we're talking about 150K, which is a significant amount of money that most people should really care about. But life is not full of those decisions. Life is full of all those tiny decisions where satisfying just makes a lot of sense. And it gives you, a lot of peace of mind, and say, look, I have my standards. I'm living up to them. I'm making sure I don't violate them.
But it does take a certain level of you need a certain level of maturity and discipline, though, to be okay with it. Because if you aren't there yet, right? Like, it's really easy to just say, hey, I want more, and not have a cap. I come from immigrant parents, right? And so my parents immigrated to the United States for financial opportunity, right? And my mom always looks at me and she's like, Alex, when are you gonna have enough? Like, what? Like, she sees me working 12, 14 hours days every single day. And she's like, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. And I'm like, well, first, I'm young only once. And I have this energy. I have the health today. I don't know if I'm gonna have it tomorrow. Right. So I'm like, I might as well just work hard today because I can and have the opportunity today. But I do see a day where I do put it kind of more neutral. So I think is my driver for like why I work so hard, because I do envision a day when I was telling you, like, I plan on being on a farm somewhere and not even worrying about the internet.
Okay. Look, and I'm living after the architect that has helped us build a house in a heritage building, actually. And I was doing a new project with him. I said, oh, I'm not in a hurry. You can take as much time as you want. But I don't want to be alone in this project. And you have to know that this guy is a little older, and he's in an age where in a year or two he could retire if he wanted. And I
Mhm.
was like fearful that he would retire and I would then have no architects
Have it.
over.
Yeah.
And he answered, "Oh, I understand what you're getting at. No problem. I'm not offended. And do you know what? As long as the Lord lets me, I will be in this business." I said, "Oh, never heard of that. But that's inspiring. Like, I will let you sip the cocktails with the venture capital people, and I will be still hustling here because it's something that I enjoy. I inherently enjoy, and as long as my health allows it, I want to keep on doing that because talking to there's this a lady has an acupuncture business in Melbourne. I thought there was only Melbourne in Australia, but it's Melbourne, Florida. The Americans
Okay.
don't care, right? They also have a Melbourne,
Yeah.
and it's a 10 user business, and so all of our products are free, and I love helping her. I love helping her build her business, and it's kind of like from a financial perspective, it's insane. We last year we grossed more than 100 million euros in revenues. As a CEO, I shouldn't be uh, doing that, but
Right.
it's giving me so much energy. I want to be this architect that still has that energy when he's in an age where he could retire. And yeah, that's something that I wish for our employees, and I also wish for you and other people that they find something that is so cool that they can go on this farm that they want to have and keep on working on that because it's so cool. I don't want to take away this farm from you. I just want you to enjoy what you're doing so much that you still want to do that.
Yeah, no, I like to tell people like with this when it comes to this Atlassian stuff, like I'm after I think at the beginning we are talking about like, hey Alex, like helping people, right? We're talking about how out of the videos people come and they're like, hey, we need help, and they trust me, right? And not once have I ever had to worry about like, is somebody gonna pay me? Because I tell them like, look, I do this for fun. I enjoy this, so I'm not going to lose a relationship or potential partnership here if you pay me or don't pay me. Because at the end of the day, it's just an hour of my time of something I enjoy doing. And so you pay me, awesome. We'll keep working. If you don't pay me, I'm obviously not going to help you anymore. But um, it's it doesn't hurt me, right? It doesn't hurt me to not
Mhm.
get paid because I get paid to do what I enjoy doing. And I think I've reached a point in
And
my career where it's like I'm very picky now because I only work on the stuff I like.
and just to add something, I think there's a component that makes this worthwhile, and it's learning. So with this lady, I get that learning. I get that new experience that I didn't have before that I think is transformative for me doing my job for 450 people here. And that's why I'm able and willing to do this for free. It's not like um, what you just said sounded like, oh, you can treat me badly, no problem. I'm doing this for fun. But that's not it. It's like I think those people, even if they don't pay you, they still enhance your business model. You're
Right.
knowing better how to do this and how to identify those people and blah blah blah. And I think this is a key ingredient. So if you work with someone who is willing to contribute themselves and just not just only take, that's making those things very rewarding and valuable on both sides, even if money is not the driving factor.
Right. Well, so Martin, I know we're running out of time here, so I just want to say again, thank you. We did not get a chance to get to everything, so we may have to do a part two very, very soon. But
You
my
can look at the
takeaway,
metrics of this video and see whether it's worthwhile. But I hope that other people like you have enjoyed that. If if you want and you're watching this, please reach out. It's very easy. Just type in Martin Seibert in Google or anywhere else, and you'll find me. I'm happy to talk. I love how you do that, Alex. Thank you so much.
thank you very much. And my takeaway from this will still be don't sell. I think those are the two words that have had a tremendous impact and definitely a driver for what I
You
want
should
to do
have a
here,
good
right?
reason if you.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very
Okay.
much for this. A very, very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and appreciate you being here. Thank you. A special big thanks to Resolution's out of office assistant for sponsoring this video. If you use Slack, then you should try out their integration. It's really cool, and you can set yourself away in Slack and it will activate your out of office in Jira automatically.